Okay guys, we're going for it. We're going live on YouTube. So what's the plan? I'm going to be looking at these articles. Believe me, it's simple as get onto YouTube. Anyway, we're going live and I am going to be trying to help people, essentially help people with their English. And at the same time, it's good for me to keep up with what's going on in the news. I'm an English teacher and I'm also a learner. I'm also a language learner. I'm learning Spanish, I've learned French, and I think I'm a typical person. Language doesn't come easy to me. And I teach, but it is I understand a lot more because now I'm a learner, and one of the things is most students are like me. I think like me, don't really want to do homework, think they want to do homework. We all think we want to do homework, but we really don't. And also listening to English, in my case Spanish, it's very difficult. We always complain, or we always have something stopping us. I'm not at the level, I'm only B1, I need to listen to B1 material. But the problem with B1 material and B2 material or A2 material, it's all like homework. It's a bit boring. So what I want to do, as you can see, is just interact with you guys, interact with people, and help you like I help my students on a day-to-day basis. And get used to my English, get used to me speaking, get used to how quick the language can be and some doubts you might have, while at the same time relaxing and looking at some articles. It's a bit late now for me. I've been trying for a long time to get this channel going, but here we are, we're live. So let's go. We're live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube. So if you're listening, do me a favor, say hello or say anything, follow me, subscribe. This is the first of what I hope will be a continuation of this. So I'm going to be just going through and looking at this. This is a newspaper I have a subscription for. It's actually in French, but what it can do is Google translates it into English, and it's actually excellent. So as you could see there, very quickly it changes into English. Now what I want to do is just look at this, and we can also then discuss it. So tourism, I want you to also to listen to my pronunciation and the way I pronounce things, and I'm going to give my opinion. You can agree with me, you don't have to agree with me, who cares, it doesn't matter. I'm going to fill up my glass, bit of water, and it is very hot here. Tourism in Kenya on the beaches of Lamu. It is better to speak English badly. Okay. In the Kenyan newspaper, the Daily Nation, the guides of Lamu, a seaside resort in the north of the country, share their tips for attracting foreign tourists. There's a beach there. Beach. It's the beach. It's the sea. And all of this is the coast. As a guide, you will lose customers if you speak a foreign language too well or seem too smart, my friend. At 70, Ziwa Abdallah is one of the oldest guides in the resort town of Lamu, Kenya. Alright, let's find out where Lamu, Kenya is. Get into maps. And let's have a look. Lamu, Kenya. Where are we talking about? Zoom out. Okay. Lamu in Kenya. Okay, so it's over there on the, not on the north coast, not on the south, not on the west coast, It's on the east coast. Below Somalia, above Tanzania. Okay, cool. So we know what we're talking about. Let me go back in and find that article again. Okay, so if you speak, he's saying if you speak the language too well, you're going to sound as if you're too smart. Okay, so maybe people don't like this. Tourists want you to sound a bit, well, let's see. He's also president of the local association, Beach Guides and Operators. And it is formal to put tourists at ease. There is no point in mastering foreign languages to perfection. On the contrary, which means the opposite. Speaking a foreign language or English or a foreign language or bad English pays better than being at ease, he assures. Speaking to the Kenyan Daily Nation. So let's see let's check this newspaper. This is a Kenyan newspaper called the Daily Nation. This is what I love about this newspaper, is it takes articles from newspapers around the world and it translates them, and then you end up reading newspapers from foreign countries that you would never read. So this is the original article. So let's look at it. Let's give the Daily Nation a plug here. A plug is like an advertisement, and why it pays to speak broken English. Okay, so this is an expression. An expression in English which means not great English. Sometimes say pigeon, but that would be more like a dialect. But broken is when it's not great. English or German in Lamu as a guide. Never heard of Lamu before. Obviously popular with English and German tourists. Let's give this guy a plug. This is the reporter, Kalume Kazungu, and he's the reporter. For many tour guides on Lamu Island, their command of English, Italian, French or German and other foreign languages is marked poorly. Not even using an American twang is when you have that accent, helps, the result being that one can barely make out what they are trying to say. But to local and international visitors and the guides themselves, they are pros, broken English or not. It works to our advantage. In fact, it sells when speaking broken English or any other foreign language compared to being too fluent in that language, said a 70-year-old. You will miss clients as a beach operator or tour guide if you're too fluent or you portray yourself as too sharp, my friend. Mr. Abdallah is one of the oldest guides in the Lamu archipelago. Archipelago, in case you don't know, is a group of islands and is the chairperson of the Beach Operators and Tour Guide Association. He's been in the industry for more than 50 years and is not quitting the business anytime soon. So if he's more than 50 years, he started before the age of 20. He says it doesn't matter whether, if, a beach operator is a tour guide steeped in class or not. What matters most is that one needs to be a people person, neat and have polished, persuasive communication skills. Yeah. That's interesting because I live in a foreign country, and often when, I understand this, often when I live in Spain, and when I go to places, and often you will come across touts. These are people who are trying to get you into their business, and if they speak too well or too nicely, or there's something about them that you don't trust. But when they're more natural and just themselves, they create a trust. So and I think you might know the feeling yourselves when you go to a foreign country. It's this, there's something when they try to be too smart, too sleek, something that you don't trust about them. He says a beach operator or tour guide should also be well informed about the geographical location where he operates or where she operates. Many tourists believe in individuals who are conversant with the area they are visiting. Okay, so they want them to know the area. Okay, that's an interesting topic. I'm not going to go through everything because it's quite a long article, but that's The Nation from Kenya. And let's go back here. That is the most read article. It seems like an interesting article. I'll try and put that in the description. Article number 2. In Libya, the strategic Russian lock on gas and oil exports. Okay. Due to the war. When Leonard Cohen sang for the Israeli army during the Yom Kippur War. What was the Yom Kippur War? It was in the 60s or... Okay, let's have a quick look at this. When Leonard Cohen sang for the Israeli army during the Yom Kippur War. 20th century Israel in October... In October 1973, Leonard Cohen toured the Sinai to boost the morale of the Israeli troops, tested by the Yom Kippur War, a commitment that illustrates the ambiguities of the Canadian singer and poet vis-a-vis his roots. Okay, so that means he was Jewish. Yeah, it's interesting because the Israel-Palestine thing is so... It divides a lot of people, and it always will. As you can imagine, people, when they live abroad, seem to look to their roots, and I suppose for Jewish people, when they look at Israel, it's difficult for them to think about what's happening. But anyway, let's have a look. October, we're going to look at some pronunciation here, okay? October 1973 was perhaps the most terrible month in Israel's history. By the way, let's see where this article is coming from. Haaretz, let's have a look. So, first we're going to look and see about the newspaper we're reading from. This is an Israeli newspaper. Haaretz from Tel Aviv. It's a daily Hebrew and English newspaper. First newspaper published in Hebrew under the British Mandate in 1919. The country. Haaretz means the country. It's a newspaper reference among Israeli politicians and intellectuals. Okay. Today located on the centre-left, Haaretz has always cultivated a liberal editorial line independent of the labour movement, which has long had its own daily newspapers, and even more so of the nationalist right. The sobriety of its layout serves an editorial policy centred on analysis and debate. Its sabbatical edition is embellished with 2 essential political and cultural supplements. The Hebrew site offers the entire printed edition of the daily, plus its own sections, blah, 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 blah. The English site also reproduces the English printed edition, also augmented with its own heading. Okay, so this is the Israeli newspaper that we're going to be looking at. So, Leonard Cohen went to sing for the Israeli army during this war. I don't exactly know what this war was about, but maybe it will tell us in here. While his tour of the Sinai during the 19 days of war holds a relatively important place in Israeli lore, that's kind of like history, legend, it is far less known to his international fans. It's understandable. Cohen rarely talked about his trip to the desert. Well, I can understand that. He would lose a lot of fans. A lot of people. The reality is a lot of people are divided on Israel. So if If you like Leonard Cohen and then you find out that he is Jewish, or he likes Israel, could affect his business. On the other hand, many Israeli soldiers whose tough confrontations with the Egyptian forces, so it's a war against Egypt, were accompanied by Suzanne and Solon Marianne. They have never forgotten, okay, some of his famous songs. An unpublished manuscript. Jewish Canadian journalist and former Israeli Defense Force member Matti Friedman was well qualified to tell the story of Cohen and the Yom Kippur War, which he does brilliantly in the Who by Fire. Okay. Leonard Cohen in the Sinai. Who by Fire, Leonard Cohen. Okay, it must be a book. The idea came to him during a concert by the singer at the Ramat Gan Stadium in September 2009. So you can say 2009 or 2009. Leonard Cohen had then left the front of the stage for more than 10 years. He had lived in a Buddhist monastery and had only returned after discovering that his manager... Okay, so there you go. A very famous singer went to... This is quite popular for... It's polarizing as well. I don't know, what do you guys think? There are really famous singers and they go and they sing for the troops. And this is seen as a very patriotic thing to do, a very motivational thing to do. But if you're an anti-war person, would you like to see one of your favorite singers going and singing for the troops? So for example, a very popular singer at the moment would be mainstream Harry Styles. Would it be okay, do you think, for him to go and sing for the British troops? I don't think they would be very interested, to be honest, in Harry Styles. But anyway, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Is it okay for singers to motivate the troops? But then again, the troops might be against your country, so, or should pop music or musicians not mix with politics? Okay, so we'll move back and the Americans, saviors of the French summer season. Oh, okay. After 2 years of pandemic, the absence of Russian tourists because of the war in Ukraine threatened to spoil the French summer. But fortunately, Americans are arriving en masse in France, reports CNN. Well, it's better to have Americans arriving en masse, which is a French expression, means like a lot, in a big group, rather than coming to your country en masse as the military. Okay, so there's the beach. I hope you guys will have time to visit the beach this summer if you can. It's good to get to the coast. It's good to get to the coast and relax. This type of beach, if we zoom, a beach in Menton in the Alpes Maritimes on the French Riviera. So this beach is not sand. What is it then? Well, if it's larger, you could say it's stony beach, or it's a pebble beach. Pebbles are small stones. It's actually a word that's, everybody knows it in English, but I think a lot of learners don't know it. I actually don't know what it would be in Spanish. In Spanish, perhaps it's piedritas, something like that. I'll have to look at that. I'm intrigued now. I want to know. And this is what I try to do as well when I'm learning. I'll just take one word or 2 words a day, and I haven't done it today. So the dictionary I'm using is Word Reference. It's just a free dictionary. And I want to know pebble in Spanish. Piedrecita. Piedrita. Okay. China. Okay. So in America Latina, piedrita. That's what I said earlier. Piedrecita. So it depends on where you go. Obviously, Spanish is spoken worldwide, like English is spoken worldwide. In many different countries, someone might say it's a stone beach, or you go to the UK and they will say it's a pebble beach. But the difference essentially is pebbles are the smallest type of stone, then stones, and then rocks would be the biggest. Okay. So after 2 years of pandemic, okay, so the Americans have come to save the day in France. I think a lot of countries have a love-hate relationship with France, to be honest. A lot of people really are interested in visiting the country, but they are also have opinions of the French, which really are stereotypes. I'd like to know in the comments, anybody, your opinion of French people, because I think when I was growing up and before I went and spent time, I had opinions of the French, some good, some bad, and then when you go, I think you just realize that the same as everyone else. I mean, they are different, but we're all different, you know. But the more you learn the language, the more everything seems to be quite normal. Americans are saving the French summer. Boast is to say, yeah, like, I'm the best, I have this, I have that, to boast. Boast CNN website, CNN, American news outlet. Let's take one near the Louvre, which is the okay, at the time when the sun is beating down and the water, and souvenir vendors appeal to tourists. Chris Walkley is enjoying the capital with his girlfriend. Okay. For Walkley, travelling to France was a symbol of returning to normal life after 2 years of restrictions and disruption caused by the pandemic, says CNN. For France, Walkley's presence is a symbol of optimism. Walkley is indeed one of the thousands of Americans expected in Paris this summer, in the absence of the Russians. Well, I wonder if they would go anyway. In the absence of the Russians, the nationals of the United States will be the most represented in the capital. Ah, yeah, okay, they're going to the capital. So while they go to the capital, all of the Parisians go to the coast, to the beach. Paris is not great in the summer. I mean, it's when they do all the roadworks. Roadworks are when they fix things on the roads. And the good news is that in Paris, as in the south of France, they consume without counting. American tourists, whoa, I need to go back there. What happened? How did I end up there? I'm after losing the article now. Okay, here we go. I was about to see some. Okay, American tourists spend on average 400 euros a day in France, reports CNN, for the Alpes-Maritimes department, which was to lose 50.4 million in 2022 due to the absence of Russian tourists. Because of the absence of Russian tourists, the news is more than encouraging. This is the case for the Royal Riviera Hotel, a 5-star hotel located in Saint-Jean, Cap-Ferrat. Yeah, I know where that is. While the absence of the Russians was to cause it to lose 20 to 25% of its clientele. The share of Americans, usually similar to that of Russians, has largely compensated, rising. Oh, excuse me, I'm really tired now. It's been so long. Has largely compensated, rising to 42% in June. Okay, so a lot of Russians are not going, but it's been compensated by the rise of the American tourists. Now, this is something that's quite particular and can be quite offensive to people from North America, anybody who's from America, because Americans are Canadians, Ecuadorians, Hondureños, Colombians. Anybody from the Americas is an American, but in the English language, an American is someone from the United States in general. We don't generally tend to say people from the United States. We say Americans, and it may change, but at the moment in the English world, there is this ignorance of. No, it's not ignorant. I mean, it's just what we grow up with, you know. So if you're from Argentina, you're Argentinian. So that's the way it is until we become more. Well, we have to find an easier name for Americans. That's what we need to do. A phenomenon encouraged by the fall in the value of the euro. That's true. Yeah, the euro has fallen to its lowest level against the dollar since 20. Okay, now I'm going to. I said this year is 2022, and we pronounced this 2002, which means that traveling in Europe has become much cheaper for Americans. Analyzes CNN. That would be with an S in British. It is also a way of taking revenge on 2 years of health restrictions. Okay. Cry of the Heart. Beach, I hate you. Scene from Italy, France, this other seaside. Okay, let's have a quick look. French and Italians do not have the same relationship to the sea, notes this journalist from the Roman daily Domani. For him, no doubt, his compatriots would well be advised to follow the example of the free beaches in force in France. Same photo. Even Jean-Paul Belmondo tried. Nothing to do against the beaches decree of 2017 and the old and fascinating actor. Client of a private beach in the seaside town of Juan Lupin was powerless. The said decree, which was only the implementation of a 2006 decision, aimed to limit the occupation of the coast by bathing establishments. Indeed, 80% of the beaches must remain free of any installation, and only removable equipment is authorized so that the beach can return to its original state for several months. So it seems that in Italy you need to pay to go to the beach. In Italy, announced the newspaper, it is the opposite. Italians assume that in order to get to the sea, they have to get their hands dirty. On average, for a day in Bagnilido in Alassio, Liguria, you have to spend between 40 and 65 euros, depending on the proximity to the shore, the parasol and the deck chairs chosen. For 1 month, the subscription costs between 1,100 and 1,700 euros. As tourists do not vote in the municipalities where they travel, the stranglehold of private beach owners does not cease. Okay. So, if you're from a different part of the world, this is how it works in Europe. All the people from the north go to the south in the summertime. The typical destinations are Spain, France, Italy, Greece, Turkey. Okay, let's call and Portugal. Okay, so generally cheap holidays, and people who buy what we call package holidays, where you pay €500 and you get your hotel and your travel and everything. Those are tend to be in Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Greece maybe as well, but Italy is seen as too expensive, and so is France. So the tourists who go to Italy and France seem to be more upper middle class people, maybe more um, disposable income. Disposable income is money you have to spend after you've paid for your rent, you've paid for everything. The rest that you have to spend is called your disposable income. So generally those are middle class people, more and seen as more educated, more cultured, that kind of thing. But anyway, it's because Italy is expensive. You have to spend 60. So depending where I am on the beach, if I'm at the back, I'll pay €40. If I'm near the sea, I'll pay 65. I don't know. What do you think? I think the idea that beaches should be free, and I like the. I mean, I do like the idea that I can get a sunbed. I'm not really a. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not really a beach person. If you look at me, I don't get a tan. But if I were to go to the beach, I definitely would prefer to spend a little bit of money on the parasol to protect me. Parasol, in case you don't know, is it's like an umbrella to block the sun, and actually comes from Spanish, I suppose, because it means para means for, and sol sun, for the sun. Para. And an umbrella in Spanish is paraguas, for water. So parasol, deck chairs. Yeah, I just don't like being on the hot sand and burning. And yeah, okay. Just a few kilometers from where they are, you go to France, so it must be near the border, and the beaches are available to everyone. For example, explains that the public beaches of Monta, a few kilometers from the border, are clean, with toilets, attractions for children, and even non-smoking beaches. The only downside, if you want a parasol, you have to come with it. That's okay. Well, look, guys, I wanted to do the stream. I wanted to get going on this. I wanted to be something that is I can get better at, and help. I want to help you guys. I want to help you guys get better at your English. I want you guys to pose some questions to me as time goes by, and the intention is, as I said, I'm an English teacher, and it's just to have a relaxing time, help you guys listen to a bit of English, help me get into some debate, answer your questions, and it's good to see anybody in the chat. So the Game Destroyer, good to see you. Roblox fan, that is something I see too much in this house, I'm afraid. So good to see you. If you're a language learner, you're very welcome. This is the aim here. I want to help people with their English, and as I've just been saying, I've just been going through some articles. If I'm speaking too fast, don't worry, you'll pick up the speed as time goes on. And I'm just going to look at a few more things. I'm really tired, to be honest, because I was trying to stream to YouTube, and it just took me forever. I'm not very technical, and when it comes to I have to change this camera again. So when it comes to technical things, I can't do. I'm just useless, to be honest. So anyway, bit tired at the moment. It is into the early hours of the morning here, and it's getting late. So let's. Hopefully, I'll try and do these a bit on a more regular basis. Okay. So it was also actually quite good to see your message in the chat, because I can then see that it's appearing on my screen, which is good. All right. Let's go into. Get rid of that. I want to zoom out. I want to look at what we can look at. See what's happening in the culture section. I've seen this. Okay. So this is in relation to the Harry Potter game. Swift sweep. Sweep is what you do with a sweeping brush. You sweep in your house when your floor is dirty. The brush that you use is called a sweeping brush. Quidditch, renamed quad ball. This sport, inspired by the Harry Potter universe, is changing its name. A way for practitioners to develop their sport while distancing themselves from the author's statement on transgender people, reports The Times. Okay, so this is a sport that was created thanks to Harry Potter, the Harry Potter books and films. It was created, and then the author of Harry Potter, well, she basically has her opinions on transgender people, and her opinion is that people that are born female are female, and you cannot just say I want to be a female or I am, and therefore people who don't agree with her, and many who play this game, have decided that they want to change the name of the game. So the name of the game is Quidditch, and they want to change it to quad ball. I don't know how popular this game really is. I do think, to be honest, it looks a bit ridiculous to me. I'll be honest. I think, okay, if you're enjoying yourself, that's absolutely fine. It does seem to me to be a kind of privileged, upper class, middle class sport, a game. And sticking a pole between your legs and running, I don't know, seems a bit silly. But hey, listen, if you enjoy yourself, go for it. You know, do what you want. Do what you want. If you enjoy it, you know, you can say anything. You could say golf is a ridiculous game, but people love golf. You know, if you like it, you like it. Let's zoom in here, get a bit of pronunciation. No longer call it Quidditch but quad ball. This sport, born under the pen of J.K. Rowling in the Harry Potter saga, wants to cut ties or connections, ties is connections, with its creator. In question, the statements of the novelist on transgender people. Okay, yeah. So this is what we call in English also is cancel culture. Cancel culture is where if you don't agree, I'm going to move this way now. If you don't agree with someone, or they are not in agreement with your beliefs, you try to ruin them essentially, or perhaps tell other people don't buy their books, don't listen to their programs, don't invite them to your to your university to make to have a talk, and that's what's happening now. So this is what's happened here. We cannot continue to call ourselves Quidditch and be associated with J.K. Rowling as she persists. She keeps making harmful and hateful comments against many transgender athletes, staff and volunteers who are part of this sporting community, he told the Times. Yes, transgender people in sport. That's a moot topic. Moot topic is something that is like you can debate about. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? In some sports now, I think in swimming, they are creating a separate category for trans people who have transitioned from male to female or female to male. Not even transitioned, actually. Just all you have to do is, if you feel you are male or female, you in some places you can just say I identify as that, and people now are going to prison and saying I identify as a female, and then they are put into female prisons. It's incredible. I just read the other day that some transgender woman impregnated, or basically made 2 other women pregnant, and then had to be moved. It seems ridiculous to me, but you know, these things always seem ridiculous in the beginning, and then in 10 years it'll be quite normal. Who knows? The new name Quadball was chosen after consultation with players and supporters by Major League Quidditch, which oversees the Canadian and American teams. The appellation will officially take effect in August after a competition organised by the MLQ, Major League Quidditch. When you see this in English, you always say, well, nothing's always in English, but you always say the letters MLQ. So if you say UK, you say United, you say UK. You say United Kingdom when you see the 2 words United Kingdom. US, you say the US, not United States. It's just well, I would say, what do we call that? It's a they have a word for it in the legal a legal term for it, where it's not a rule, it's just more common. The British author is regularly the subject of controversy on social networks about her positions on gender, which have earned her the frequent label of transphobe. Okay, so anything that you do not like or are afraid of, in English at the end you put phobe. So I was saying earlier, I'm a technophobe, because when I try to do anything in relation to technology, it gives me anxiety, to be honest. But hopefully I'll get better. I'm working with OBS Studio, and it's great. It's a great platform, but it's a bit tricky sometimes. As a remark, the change should also allow the sport to develop and become independent away from the original franchise. The federation, quoted by the Times, explains the term Quidditch belongs to Warner Brothers, limiting commercial Potter, in particular relations with Potter. Okay. So this also is it suits them, which means it's good for them. It suits them, because if they can change their name, that means they can make more money by advertising, because Quidditch belongs, it's a trademark with someone else. Okay, so what is this game? As a reminder, Quidditch games oppose 2 teams of 7 players who run with a broom. A broom is like a brush. Well, a witch with the cat on the back has a broom. Players score points by throwing a ball through 3 hoops fixed at each end of the field. The game ends when a participant catches the golden snatch, a kind of flying ball in the books of the Harry Potter represented more trivially among Muggles, non-wizards in the Harry Potter, by a bull. Let's see if we can have a look. Quidditch. Quidditch World Cup after the advert. Oh, 2 adverts, fantastic. Here we go. So we're watching someone here. This is, I don't know what that's called. It's the goal, obviously. They're training. So it's mixed. It's a mixed sport. This is called warming up. Obviously they're stretching, but before sports you warm up. Alright, let's get on with it. Okay guys, what do you think? Would you be interested in playing this game? Like I said, I think it's a upper middle class sport. I imagine this is played in a university. That probably costs a lot of money to go to. And well, it depends, I suppose. People could just play it for fun anywhere as well. But generally I would imagine this is... Oh, it's a bit... Okay. So there you go, that's the game of Quidditch. Not much diversity there. So this group of people are, yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people who are, you know, trans rights and, you know, they support minorities, but you know, like trans people or minorities in their particular country, but I didn't see many minorities in that. So you can you are free to disagree with me, but we call that double standards in English, where you say one thing but, you know, hypocritical. But that's the way it is. Quidditch, it's being changed to quad ball. Quad means 4, so why would it be called quad ball? Okay, that's that one. A bit of video games. Okay, well we're on Twitch at the moment. We're on YouTube as well. Point of view. Someone's opinion. When literature takes video games seriously. Okay. When literature takes video games seriously. Alright. For the first time, novels explore video games as creators of emotions. Just like any work of art, writes The Guardian. The Irish novelist and poet, right, in The Guardian, the Irish novelist and poet Sarah Maria Griffin. Yeah, video games when I was younger definitely was something that you grew out of. To grow out of something is you mentally become too mature for something. So when you're a child, you like some games and then you grow out of those games. But yeah, video games seemed to be like this, that you would play them for a while and then you grow out of it. But now it's a lifestyle. Video games are an extremely recent art form. Much more recent, of course, than books. And are only at the beginning of their history. The one who speaks so, or thus, is Gabrielle Zevin, a 45-year-old American writer. She has just published Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, a novel not yet available in French, but which is distinguished by her Irish colleague Sarah Maria in the columns of The Guardian as one of the first literary works to be serious about video games. Well, let's have. When did video games first appear then? A pixel in the history of art. The very first video games appeared in the 1950s, long before the black and white home consoles that brought the game Pong into homes during the 1970s. Recalls Sarah Maria Greva. Okay, so I didn't really know what Pong was until I was looking at Netflix a while ago, and was it? Well, maybe I don't know if it was a documentary or if it was on Netflix, but it's a documentary about it's called Pong, and it's about an arcade game, video game. So it's 1950s. Wow. It therefore took time for literature from the height of its millennia of existence to design the latter, which in a few decades have become a form of entertainment as inventive as it is popular. Nevertheless, now influence. Yeah. So video games are becoming, we're on Twitch here. I'm not exactly a gamer myself, but I think before, like I said, if somebody was in their room playing video games, parents would have been and friends, go out, play with your friends, like meet your friends, be social. But now it's perfectly fine to social while playing video games. They're a lot more social. I do remember when I was in university, there were it was actually French, a group. I was in the UK, and there were a group of French people who came, and they were tech students. They were doing an exchange, and they were all in one building, and they connected all the cables between their dorm rooms, and they played against each other in video games. And that's the first time I really saw like the way people play online now. So that was in 2002 2001. So that was quite interesting for me, and I just thought it's a bit embarrassing that these guys are playing computer games and taking it so seriously. But then it's interesting. So so there you go. I think I'm gonna leave it at that for the moment, and I'm going to sign off. So thanks anyone who dropped in and had a listen. Hopefully I'll be a bit more animated the next time. I'm just a bit tired at the moment, to be honest, but good anyway. Have a good evening, and I shall check in on a more regular schedule with you guys. Talk to you later.